The Martian is a new movie directed by Ridley Scott that's based off of the best-selling novel of the same name, and this is a movie that I have been really looking forward to seeing, because even though I have never read the book because, well, I just hate reading, I'm a big fan of the cast in this movie, especially Matt Damon, because that dude is awesome. The trailers looked really cool, and the premise of this movie is so interesting. So I went into this movie with very high expectations, and I walked out of it completely satisfied. This movie met, if not surpassed, all of the expectations I had for it. It is easily one of the best films I've seen this year. So now I'm going to talk about this movie like you either saw it this weekend, or you just don't give a shit. So you have been warned. So the movie opens up on Mars. Matt Damon is a member of this crew of astronauts that's captained by Jessica Chastain. The mission on Mars, however, is cut short when a giant freakish dust storm hits that forces them all to evacuate. Unfortunately though, during the evacuation, Matt Damon just gets nailed by this debris. And with that, the crew is unfortunately left to presume that he's dead and are forced to leave Mars without him. But, oops, we find out that this poor bastard is still alive. He only suffered a fairly minor injury from the debris. He's able to make it back to the station that's on Mars, where now he realizes that he is all alone on this planet and somehow, some way, has to find a way to survive. And this is where I already started to get really into this movie. Because really put yourself in this guy's situation. He is stranded on Mars, everyone thinks he's dead, and any form of help for him is 140 million miles away. But despite all of that, he says in this movie, I am not gonna die here. There is nothing more powerful than the will to live, and I love how Matt Damon shows that in this movie. So now to get it started, Matt Damon has to find a way to grow 4 years worth of food and water on a planet where that just is non-existent. Luckily, however, he is a botanist and he knows exactly how to literally make something out of nothing. And it is so cool in this movie to see just how smart his character is. And exactly the experiments that he undergoes that allows him to grow the potato plants he needs for food, how he's able to make water, and how he's also able to use one of the rovers to get to the landing site for the next Mars mission that's coming in 4 years. In the meantime, NASA's Mars mission director, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, he has noticed via NASA's satellites that there has been clear activity going on the Mars space station, which officially leaves everyone who sees it to realize, oh shit, Matt Damon is still alive. Which now leaves them wondering if they should tell Matt Damon's crew what happened, who's, you know, now on their way back to Earth. Which Chiwetel Ejiofor does not feel they should do because it's only going to make them feel worse than they already do, knowing that they left him there to die. However, Matt Damon is eventually able to recover the Mars Pathfinder, which allows him to make contact with NASA. And of course, one of the first things he asks is how did his crew take hearing that he's still alive? So now Chiwetel Ejiofor has to tell him, well, we haven't really told them you're alive yet. To which, of course, Matt Damon replies, are you fucking shitting me? However, after all this unfolds, the director of NASA, played by Jeff Daniels, he agrees to send a probe to Mars that will supply Matt Damon with all the food and supplies he will need to stay alive for the next 4 years. So finally, things start to look Matt Damon's way, until disaster strikes when the airlock on the Mars space station breaks off and destroys all of the crops that Matt Damon has grown. Well, he's still got that supply of food coming for him, right? Well, he did until it blows up immediately after lifting off, which stoops Matt Damon to just begin to think to himself, this is my fate. I'm never getting off this planet. However, there is still one last glimmer of hope for him. The Chinese have offered to use their own rocket to deliver the supplies to Matt Damon, which from there, one astrodynamicist from NASA suggests that Matt Damon's crew picks up the probe. From there, Yui's it back to Mars, picks up Matt Damon, and then starts heading back to Earth. Jeff Daniels, however, refuses to approve this plan because there are 1.5 million things that could go wrong, and above all, he doesn't want to risk the lives of the other 5 crew members for Matt Damon's. His crew, however, by this point has figured out that Matt Damon is in fact still alive and have also learned of this plan to potentially bring him back. And they're all completely aware that 1, there is a very good chance they could all die from this mission, and 2, even if everything goes perfectly right, that is another 500 plus days they are going to have to spend in space, which only means another 500 plus days of not being on Earth and not being with their families. However, they don't even give it a shred of thought. They all unanimously agree to go back and save Matt Damon. And I just loved seeing that throughout this movie. That all of these people from all over the world are doing everything they can to help get Matt Damon off of that planet, even if it may mean at their own cost. It just goes back to what Matt Damon had said earlier in this movie, that every human's basic instinct is to help one another, and it really shows in this movie, and it's awesome. So now, 7 months later, the crew is just about to reach Matt Damon. He modifies one of the launching pads on Mars so it can save weight for the crew when they come to get him, and also so they can intercept him in space. The event is all over every news station in the world, and everyone is watching to see what happens. So Matt Damon officially blasts off to the crew, but there is a slight problem. The launching pad cannot reach the altitude that they need him to be at. So Jessica Chastain decides to go get him via one of those spacewalk things that astronauts use, while Matt Damon punctures a hole through his spacesuit so he can Iron Man his way towards her. The whole scene is intense. It doesn't look like it's gonna work. It had me hanging on the edge of my seat, holding my breath like, oh shit. But luckily, Jessica Chastain is able to get him and Matt Damon is finally rescued. The final scene shows him back on Earth along with the rest of the crew. We see him as a new teacher for the astronauts in training and teaching them about space survival. Because who better to give you advice on that than him? So all in all, The Martian was an amazing movie. This movie had everything going for it. Matt Damon just kills it in this movie in what I think is his best performance in quite a while. The rest of the cast does a great job. The writing is great. The execution of the premise was done so well. The movie was surprisingly funnier than I thought it was gonna be. The setting was really awesome too. It really looked like they were actually filming on Mars for this movie. In a situation like this, every person in the world that can do something to help will do everything they can to help. This is a movie that will restore faith in humanity. Until, of course, you start driving home and are listening to the bullshit on the radio nowadays. Then it will disappear again. The Martian is hands down one of the best movies I have seen all year, and I loved it. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.